myself, I won't finish on it by the time we get to Sayre if I do it at that interval. So this every 5 minutes I'm gonna have to. Kind of helps get me a little bit satisfied, but without overeating too. JCT coming at us. Couldn't read the truck number. L 4363 Delta or 4383 Delta.
F-22s arrive at Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE in February 2022. SGT, Chelsea E. Fitzpatrick. U.S. Air Force F-22 stealth fighter jets were redeployed to the Middle East in mid-June. Their redeployment comes amid repeated cases of aggressive flying by Russian Air Force pilots. That reflects the history of tension between the U.S. and Russia in the region, especially over Syria. The U.S. Air Force's top commander in the Middle East warned in June of increasingly aggressive actions by Russian fighter pilots over Syria. It was only the latest warning of such activity, and it reflects a long history of contentious interactions between U.S. and Russian forces in Syria that will persist amid broader tensions, experts say. Lt. General Alexis Grinkovich, commander of U.S. Air Force's Central Command, said on June 21 that Russian fighter pilots are behaving more aggressively over Syria and suggested it might be a way to compensate for the fact that they have had to move capability and capacity out of Syria in order to support the war in Ukraine. Russia currently faces a counteroffensive in Ukraine and is dealing with the fallout from a brief but unprecedented mutiny by Wagner Group mercenaries at home, but those challenges don't seem to have affected air operations in Syria. The aftermath of a deadly Russian airstrike in Idlib, Syria on June 25, 2023. Azad and Kazım, Anadolu Agency via Getty Images. Russian airstrikes hit a crowded market in Idlib province on June 24 and 25, killing 9 people, and in addition to unsafe flying, Russian jets armed with air-to-surface weapons have overflown U.S. troop positions in Syria in recent months. Speaking to reporters last month, Grinkovich pointed to a mid-March incident in which a Russian fighter jet struck an American MQ-9 Reaper drone, forcing it down in the Black Sea. The pilot was rewarded for that action, proving that Russia encourages such unprofessional behavior, Grinkovich said. So anytime you have an air force that has fallen so low on the professional ladder that they're giving medals for buffoonery in the air, you've really got to wonder what they're thinking. Grinkovich spoke shortly after the U.S. Air Force redeployed F-22s to the Middle East. The return of the F-22s, a stealth fighter jet designed for air superiority, is notable in light of a broader effort by the U.S. military to shift advanced warplanes from the Middle East to Europe and the Pacific. The U.S. planned to compensate by deploying A-10 attack planes, which are designed to strike ground targets, to the Middle East. The U.S. Air Force A-10C refuels from a KC-135 over the Middle East in April. U.S. Air Force Tech. SGT. Devin Boyer. The F-22 redeployment is part of a multifaceted show of U.S. support and capability in the wake of what I would deem increasingly unsafe and unprofessional behavior by Russian aircraft in Syria, Grinkovich said, arguing it was necessary because of Russia's increasing unprofessional behavior and its pilots flying in a more assertive manner against us. Ryan Bull, a senior Middle East and North Africa analyst at risk intelligence company RAIN, told Insider it is hard to verify whether there has been an increase in aggressive flying by Russian pilots, but that there has been a long-standing pattern of Russian harassment and brinksmanship with U.S. forces both in the air and on the ground in Syria. On several occasions in 2017, Russian jets intentionally crossed the deconfliction line established over the Euphrates River and flew within striking distance or directly over U.S. and Allied forces on the ground, sometimes for up to 30 minutes. That same year, as revealed in a new book, the Russians threatened to destroy the Al-Tanif garrison in southeastern Syria, where U.S. Special Operations Forces have for years trained partner forces, but promptly backtracked when the U.S. military stood its ground. Russian and U.S. troops exchanged greetings while on separate patrols in northeastern Syria in October. Delil Suleiman, AFP via Getty Images. There have been frequent confrontations in the area around Al-Tanif. In mid-2016, Russian jets reportedly attacked the garrison with cluster munitions, and Grinkovich said on March 22 that Russian jets had violated the airspace over the garrison 25 times that month. While Russia's behavior in Syria may not be unprecedented, it may be more dangerous now given the deterioration of U.S.-Russia relations. There's always been a cap on the level of escalation that is reasonable between Russia and the United States in Syria, and both sides have long recognized this, Bull said. But underneath this cap is space in which the two are able to send signals towards one another that increase or decrease deterrence and shape the political debate about their military missions back in their respective governments. Bull believes Russia is trying to signal the U.S. that the risks involved in America's presence in Syria far outweigh the benefits. Moscow wants American politicians to believe that an accidental escalation within Syria is possible at any time, even if that isn't really the case, in order to increase American sentiment to withdraw, Bull said. Deploying the F-22, a jet designed to establish air dominance quickly and engage targets from a distance, is a sign the U.S. has no intention of backing down, according to Nicholas Harris, Senior Director of Strategy and Innovation at the New Lines Institute. The U.S. Air Force F-22 over the UAE in March 2022. U.S. Air Force Tech. SGT. Christopher Ruano. The F-22s provide the U.S. with the ability to engage the Russians from behind the deconfliction line quicker than the Russians, Harris told Insider. Due to the increasingly aggressive posture of Russian forces toward U.S. forces in Syria, it is not surprising that the U.S. would want to have fifth-generation fighter assets in place that can both strike Russian forces on the ground from a greater distance and ward off Russian attack aircraft, Harris said. The most advanced fighter Russia has deployed to Syria is the Su-35. Bowles said there is no actual combat data to show how the F-22 would fare against the Su-35, but argued that the more pertinent angle to the U.S. deployment is demonstrating political will to continue committing top-line assets to Syria. This signals to the Kremlin that the harassment tactics are not increasing sentiment to draw down U.S. forces but actually causing the opposite, Bowles said, adding that while Russia would likely never try to bring down an F-22 intentionally, the risk of that happening is reduced, thanks to the F-22's more sophisticated maneuvering capabilities. Asked if aggressive Russian flying over Syria is likely to peak or intensify in the near term, Harris said, Russia has adopted a generally more aggressive approach toward the U.S. in Syria, and that should be expected to be a persistent irritant to the United States. Paul Lydon is a freelance journalist and columnist who writes about Middle East developments, military affairs, politics, and history. His articles have appeared in a variety of publications focused on the region. Read the original article on Business Insider. OceanGate said it is suspending all exploration and commercial operations after 5 people were killed, including the company's CEO, during its expedition to the Titanic wreckage last month. The Everett, Washington-based company announced the development in a banner on its websites. OceanGate, founded in 2009, offered tourists the opportunity to travel on submersibles into the ocean's depths for a close-up look at shipwrecks and underwater canyons. Photo. This photo provided by OceanGate Expeditions shows a submersible vessel named Titan used to visit the wreckage site of the Titanic. OceanGate Expeditions via AP. File on June 18. Its Titan submersible went missing while on a deep-sea voyage to the Titanic. The remnants of the missing OceanGate submersible, including the tail cone, were found on the ocean floor about 1,600 feet from the bow of the wrecked Titanic on June 22 by a remotely operated vehicle. Debris recovered from the submersible contained presumed human remains, the U.S. Coast Guard said last week. The Marine Board of Investigation will be conducting further analysis and testing on the evidence, the Coast Guard said. More. What to know about OceanGate, the company behind the missing Titanic submersible. There is still a substantial amount of work to be done to understand the factors that led to the catastrophic loss of the Titan and help ensure a similar tragedy does not occur again, Marine Board of Investigation Chair Captain Jason Neubauer said in a statement on June 28. The U.S. Coast Guard is leading an investigation into the deadly incident, according to the National Transportation Safety Board, which said it will contribute to their efforts. Former National Transportation Safety Board investigator Tom Howder called the probe uncharted territory that could take months to analyze the failures. This is the first fatality on a passenger carriage submarine I can think of, and certainly the first one going into Titanic at this depth, Howder told ABC News. Photo. This undated image, courtesy of OceanGate Expeditions, shows their Titan submersible beginning a descent. OceanGate Expeditions, AFP via Getty Images. Filed more. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police also said last month that they are examining the circumstances of the deaths on board the Titan and will launch a full investigation if the circumstances indicate criminal, federal or provincial laws may possibly have been broken. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush was among the 5 passengers killed on the experimental submersible, which has come under scrutiny for its carbon fiber construction and design. Stockton had previously defended the decision to manufacture the Titan with carbon fiber, saying he believed a sub made with carbon fiber would have a better strength to buoyancy ratio than titanium. OceanGate had conducted over 14 expeditions and more than 200 dives across the Pacific, Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, according to the company's website. A seat on its submersible to see the Titanic wreckage cost $250,000 per passenger. OceanGate suspends all exploration and commercial operations after Titan implosion originally appeared on abcnews.go.com. View article source. 1/2. Article United Nations Guantanamo detainees. File. In this photo reviewed by U.S. military officials, flags fly in front of the tents of Camp Justice in Guantanamo Bay Naval Base, Cuba, on April 18, 2019. For the first time since the facility in Cuba opened in 2002, a U.S. president had allowed a United Nations independent investigator, Vanul Alain, to visit. AP photo Alex Brandon, File Associated Press More United Nations AP, at the U.S. Detention Center at Guantanamo Bay, the aging men known by their serial numbers arrived at the meeting shackled. Every single one told the visitor, for many the first independent person they had talked to in 20 years, you came too late. But they still talked about the scant contacts with their families, their many health problems, the psychological and physical scars of the torture and abuse they experienced, and their hopes of leaving and reuniting with loved ones. For the first time since the facility in Cuba opened in 2002, a U.S. president had allowed a United Nations independent investigator, Vanul Alain, to visit. She said in an interview with the Associated Press that it's true she came too late, because a total of 780 Muslim men were detained there following the 9/11 terrorist attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people, and today there are just 30 remaining. The United Nations had tried for many years to send an independent investigator, but was turned down by the administrations of George W. Bush, Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Alain praised President Joe Biden's administration for allowing critical voices into the facility. And she expressed hope other governments that have barred UN special investigators will follow Biden's example. The Belfast-born law professor said she believes the cross-section of high-value and non-high value detainees she met with, the Biden administration gave her free rein to talk to anyone, recognized the importance of sitting in a room with me. But I think there was a shared understanding that at this point, with only 30 of them left, while I can make recommendations and they will hopefully substantially change the day-to-day experience of these men, the vast majority of their lives was lived in a context where people like myself and the UN had no influence, she said. Alain, concurrently a law professor at the University of Minnesota and at Queen's University in Belfast, said she has visited many high-security prisons during her 6 years as a UN human rights investigator, including some built for serious offenses. But there is really no population on Earth like this population that came to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, in the circumstances in which they came, rendered across borders, she said. In her report issued June 26, Alain said even though the attacks on September 11, 2001, were crimes against humanity, the treatment of the detainees at Guantanamo was unjustified. The vast majority were brought there without cause and had no relationship to the terrorist attacks, she wrote, adding that all of the men still alive suffer from psychological and physical trauma. The Biden administration, which has said it wants to close the Guantanamo facility, said in a statement attached to the report that Alain's findings are solely her own, and the United States disagrees in significant respects with many factual and legal assertions, but it will carefully review her recommendations. In last week's interview with the AP, Alain talked about what she saw on a personal level. She said all U.S. personnel are required to address detainees by their internment serial number, not their name, which she called dehumanizing. Alain said she is especially concerned about 3 detainees who have not been charged and live in a complete legal limbo, which is completely inconsistent with international law. Of the others, 16 have been cleared to leave but haven't found a country willing to take them and 11 still have cases pending before U.S. military commissions. When the detainees were brought to meet her, they were shackled, which she said is not standard procedure even for those convicted of terrorism. Under international law, she said, people cannot be shackled except for imperative security reasons, and in her view at Guantanamo it should be prohibited and used only as a last resort in exceptional circumstances. You're dealing with an elderly vulnerable population who are incarcerated, Alain said. These men, because they are torture victim survivors, they have difficulties concentrating, they have challenges with recurrent memory, somatic pain. Many of them struggle with mobility and other issues, including permanent disabilities, traumatic brain injuries, chronic pain and gastrointestinal and urinary problems, she said. Alain said force feeding has been an ongoing practice in response to their hunger strikes, which along with suicidal ideas and self-harm, speak to the core finding of this report, which is the deep and profound despair of individuals who've been held without trial for 20 years, have not seen their family members, but had no access to the outside world, except their lawyers until she visited in February for 4 days. Practices like using restraints cause added psychological distress for many of the detainees, she said. For the report, Elaine also interviewed victims, survivors and families of those killed on 9/11, and she met with some of the 741 men who already had been released from Guantanamo, including approximately 150 resettled in 29 countries. The rest returned home, and 30 men have since died. What the men still at Guantanamo and those who have been released need most, she said, is torture rehabilitation, every single one, and the US is a leader in torture rehabilitation. She welcomed Biden's extraordinary statement on June 26, the International Day in support of victims of torture, reaffirming US opposition to all forms of inhumane treatment and our commitment to eliminating torture and assisting torture survivors as they heal and in their quests for justice. That tells me there is a capacity to remedy here, she said. Rehabilitation is critical for all torture victims, she said, but also for ourselves, because that's what democracies do. We look at our past, we take it on board, and we address it, because democracies are self-correcting. Elaine called the communal meals and communal prayer for all detainees, which the US emphasizes, very important. The men themselves are enormously important to each other in their rehabilitation, she said. There is an enormous bond of support and fraternity and care amongst these men for each other. Elaine noted the detainees have some privileges. They are able to watch television and read books, and there are language classes, some opportunities to learn about computers and art lessons. She said she was really gratified. The Biden administration recently decided to allow detainees to take as much of their artwork as is practicable when they leave. This creative work is enormously important to these men, she said, noting that a detainee who recently returned to Pakistan had an art exhibition in Karachi some weeks ago. Among the many recommendations Elaine's report makes is for torture rehabilitation and additional education and training, especially for those cleared to leave. These men are going to go out into the world, she said. Many of them were young men when they were detained and rendered to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. They're now old men, middle-aged men, who have to figure out how to go back into life, and many of them have huge anxieties about providing for their families and about being fathers after so many years. View article source. Film News Features Reviews Interviews NEWSFILM News. Robert De Niro's grandson's suspected cause of death revealed by family. Leandro De Niro Rodriguez's toxicology test results are yet to have been released. By Charlotte Kroll, the 6th of July 2023. Robert De Niro. Credit, Lexi Moreland. WWD. Via Getty Images. Robert De Niro's daughter has revealed the suspected cause of death of her son, Leandro De Niro Rodriguez. Rodriguez died on Monday, July 3rd, in New York at the age of 19. De Niro said that he is deeply distressed about losing his grandson. Drina De Niro's adopted daughter, claimed on Instagram yesterday, July 5th, that fentanyl-laced pills caused her son's death. Responding to a question about how Rodriguez had died, the 51-year-old said, "Someone sold him fentanyl-laced pills that they knew were laced yet still sold them to him. So for all these people still fucking around selling and buying this shit, my son is gone forever." As LBC notes, the toxicology test results have not been released, so the cause of Rodriguez's death is not official. New York police are investigating the death as a possible overdose, according to local media, and several U.S. outlets have reported that the young actor was found with white powder and drug paraphernalia nearby. Speaking out following his grandson's death, De Niro said that he was deeply distressed, and family members are greatly appreciative of the condolences, but asked that we please be given privacy to grieve our loss of Leo. Drina wrote in tribute to her son yesterday, "My beautiful sweet angel. I have loved you beyond words or description from the moment I felt you in my belly. You have been my joy, my heart, and all that was ever pure and real in my life. I wish I was with you right now. I wish I was with you. I don't know how to live without you, but I'll try to go on and spread the love and light that you so made me feel in getting to be your mama." Robert De Niro.
What?
You used to work in the Air Force Base. You used to work on planes to fix them.
Correct.
And you might find a problem on my mom's used car engine.
What's wrong with your engine? I thought it was just a battery thing.
Because it's just a battery because it does a fluke thing. Because when the middle
software issues.
Yes.
I think it needs to be updated by the dealer.
Yes. When we going to pull the key out and it shuts off, I can't even turn all the way off to pull it out. You have to do
What kind of car is it again?
Okay, 2015 Chevy Captiva Sport 4-door.
Captiva, you said?
Yes. that car.
Yeah, but how old is that battery?
I don't know. It does not say any dates on it.
It probably does, but you might have to take the cover off to look at it. Usually batteries always have a date on there to show when they're manufactured or serviced. You have a new key for your captive and trigger the system message. You'll need to turn the key and wait for the system to learn it. Jump down to the next section for exactly how to do that. Other costs of the service theft deter and system message, including
the back of the trunk, underneath the tire.
Ah.
That has 10 years warranty.
The kid in the back seat was giving the signal they wanted me to hump my horn. You didn't see it?
Nope. The kid in the back seat, when you honk your horn?
Yeah, a person in the right side past the rear seat. They were doing this kind of number here, which tells me that they want me to honk my horn for them.
Honk the horn? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I've not seen those that often.
I don't see too many of them on the road anymore, I mean, out here anymore, but it does happen every so often. And I always try to oblige whenever I can. My truck. Come on. Get out. Get out. I don't know if I got him out or not. I hope he did. Fucking little bitch.
The flies.
Yeah, I hate them damn things. I don't think it left because I thought it just felt something on my head.
See? Because fly can bite.
They can bite.
Yes, flies.
How the hell do they bite?
You can look it on the web. Flies can bite.
I thought all they did was spit out some juice onto you, onto whatever they're, and then they'd combine